In September 2011, 3 Stanford students launched a startup. Expectations were low since 9 out of 10 startups usually fail, and there was no reason why their startup would not fail as well. The idea behind it was simple. It would be a social media app, but with a small twist. It would allow its users to post photos and videos that disappeared from the site after a few moments. It wasn't clear how anyone would find that valuable, but school kids quickly found a use for it, as they could post the dirty things they do in school since it would disappear anyway the next day. The app went viral. The company grew way faster than the founders expected. In less than 4 years, the company's valuation crossed a few $1 billion, turning its founders, Evan Spiegel and Bobby Murphy, into billionaires. At just 25 years old, Evan Spiegel became a billionaire. He's not alone in that category of people. Mark Zuckerberg, Bill Gates, and others like them have amassed massive fortunes at such an early age. Since then, Snapchat started a war with Facebook and surprisingly did not lose, so the company's stock price grew dramatically, raising Spiegel's net worth to $15 billion. Despite Facebook's massive size, it has also doubled its stock price since then. Hence, the true beneficiaries of this war were investors who invested in both Snapchat and Facebook. But the problem is that around half of Americans don't own a single stock, which means around half of Americans are missing the opportunity to benefit from the stock market's rise. Of course, there are other investing tools out there, from bonds to real estate, but bond rates are so low that you will end up losing money in the long run, since inflation will wipe out any potential gains you will make. On the other hand, with real estate comes a lot of responsibilities and risks, and it often takes a lot of time for anyone to get into real estate, since it requires a lot of capital, which makes the stock market even more appealing. But what most people don't understand is that your investing strategy should highly depend on how old are you. A 40-year-old should not invest like a 20-year-old. So let's try to find out how much you should invest by every age. So give this video a thumbs up and let's dive in. In order to find out how much you should invest, first you have to find out your net worth. Calculating your net worth isn't really difficult. It's much easier than you might think. Take a piece of paper, draw a line in the middle of it. On one side, you have to add up the total value of your assets. This includes the current market value of your investment accounts, if you have one of course, retirement savings, homes, cars, trucks, valuable things like jewelry, and the cash value of your checking and savings account. On the other hand, write down your liabilities. This include your mortgage, car loan, student loan, personal loans, credit card debts, $300 you owe to your buddy, and any other form of debt you might owe. And now, finally, subtract your liabilities from your assets. The total cost is considered your personal net worth. Your total could result in positive net worth or negative. If you're in the negative net worth category, don't be afraid. It's alright. It's typical for people who are early in their careers to have a low or negative net worth if they have student loans or are new homeowners or are just starting to save for their future. If you're in your 20s and have zero in savings, congrats, you're not doing bad. I'm not kidding. It's fine not to have any savings at this point in your life. Let's face it, if you're in college and have student debts, your part-time job would hardly cover your bills, leave alone paying your debts. So, don't worry, most 20-year-olds have a negative net worth. In your 20s, your job should be getting rid of unnecessary debts and sorting out your finances. I'm not talking about mortgage if you have one, but rather credit card debts, car debts, or a student loan. Because over time, these debts will compound and each year the amount is going to grow bigger and bigger. If you're going to leave it, you might just never get financially free. So only interest on your debt will be so high that you won't be able to cover it. Don't invest any money if you have such debts. But the moment you get rid of these debts, your first priority should be to invest as much as you can. This is the only period in your life where you can live frugally, because later in your life, you will have financial responsibilities that you cannot avoid. As we have mentioned before, your debts can compound. So does your investments. So the dollar that you invest in your 20s is worth far more than the dollar you invest in your 30s. So invest the vast majority of your income at this period of your life. When you approach your 30s and you want to be doing at least good enough, you should have at least saved 6 months of your income as an emergency fund. If we take the average household income, then that's almost $31,000. But if you want to be doing better than your average boy, then you should have at least a year of your income saved in your account. Emergencies happen, sometimes they even lead to bankruptcies. Hundreds of thousands of people file for bankruptcy due to unexpected bills. So be careful. When it comes to your net worth, according to the Fed, the average net worth for families in the US under age of 35 as of 2016 was $76,000. But this number isn't accurate because a small percentage of wealthy Americans skewed it. That's why the median is much lower at an $11,100. That's not hard to achieve. The reason that this number is so low is that even though average adults have assets like a house and a car, their student loans and a mortgage would overshadow them. So don't worry, as you begin to cover your student loan and your mortgage, your net worth will quickly build up. At this age, it's usually difficult to save money because people often have families, sometimes kids, so people usually live paycheck to paycheck at this point. If you can even save 10 to 20% of your income to invest, then you will be doing great. As you start hitting your 40s, ideally, you should have saved at least 3 times your income. If you're earning $100,000, then your number is $300,000. But that's unrealistic for most people. In fact, according to the Fed, the median income of 40-year-olds is a little below $60,000. Usually, people have families and lots of bills to cover at this stage of their lives. Taking care of an entire family isn't easy, especially when your children begin to grow. If you have started investing back in your 20s, you will have at least something to fall on at this age, but if you didn't, then you're naked. You probably won't be able to reap the rewards of compound interest since compound interest works with time. So this is the time where it's better to focus more on individual stocks and not on index funds. But make sure you don't touch your emergency fund since the stock market is unpredictable. You only win in the long run. Do not invest any money you might need in the next year or two. Invest only what you can afford to lose. As you approach your 50s, your net worth should be significantly higher because you're also getting closer to your retirement age. And if you want to have a good retirement, you have to prepare for it. The median net worth of 50-year-olds is $124,000. But keep in mind that it's the median. The average is $727,000, which is much higher. And your savings should be 5 times your annual income. It might seem unrealistic to reach these numbers, but to be honest, even saving a small portion of your income over 30 years is enough. And if you started investing early on, it is easily going to add up due to the power of compounding. Keep in mind that you don't necessarily have to follow these numbers. You can work a little harder and retire in your 30s. Possibilities are beyond what you might imagine. Some people start taking care of their money in their 20s, others in their 40s. So do not directly compare yourself to anyone. Sometimes circumstances do not allow you to save in your early years. So take a look at your circumstances and plan it accordingly. And now it's your turn. How old are you and how much you have invested? Let me know in the comments below. Don't forget to get your 2 free stocks from Webull if you use the link in the description, or check out my special course on Skillshare that will teach you how to invest in the stock market like those rich people do. And most importantly, give this video a thumbs up if you want to help us and subscribe if you're new around here. Thanks for watching and until next time.